Hi there, everybody. Welcome to another album review. My name is Christian Eschbach. Okay, everybody. I had mentioned that this album was coming out, and I mentioned it was going to be a little while before I got to it, but I got to it. I've got it. We're talking about Tobias Sammet's Avantasia's Here Be Dragons. Okay, so if you're one of my regular viewers and you've watched any of my Avantasia reviews, this one's going to sound the same as most of them. Uh, Considering the list of musicians on here, so we've got Tobias Sammet doing lead and backing vocals, keyboards, bass. Sasha Paith doing lead and rhythm guitars and bass. Arn Vigeland doing lead guitar on track 3. Miro Rodenberg doing orchestration. And Felix Bonk on drums. After that, we got Adrian Cohen, and the rest are all vocals. We got Adrian Cohen, Herbie Longens, Chara Chakarko? Sorry, my apologies. Wow, I'm bad. Okay. Ronnie Atkins, Bob Catley, Tommy Karavik, Roy Kahn, Michael Kisk. I know that one. I've actually seen him live. That's one of the vocals from Halloween. Kenny Lacremo and Jeff Tate. I do not know where any of these guys are from, except for Michael Kisk. I know him. The rest of them, feel free to tell me down below. Okay, guys, I have no clue where they're from. So that's what the comment section is for. You can educate me here. Tell me where the rest of these guys are from. Some of the other names I do know. I do recognize Ronnie Atkins' name, and I do recognize Bob Catley. I do not know where I recognize them from. All right. With this list of musicians and artists and whatnot, and being that it is Avantasia, it is a very well written, well put together, and well executed album. It is 100% by the numbers, a really solid operatic metal, power metal kind of album. And outside of that, it's got all my usual complaints. For the amount of vocalists that are on here, and I'm not going to say they all sound the same, but they all sound the same. They don't all sound the same. I can tell them all apart, but they all sound the same. A little more diversity would be nice in the vocal styling. You know, like it's nice to have all the really nice voices and stuff like that, but you know, like someone that's a little more unique and stands out a bit would be cool too. You know, there there aren't a lot of really kind of grab hook riffs in this album either. This album very much feels more symphonic inspired, less pop inspired, or less rock inspired, or less, modern inspired. Realistically, the biggest song for that is probably the first song on the album, which is Creep Show. This one's got some really nice, good pop sensibilities, kind of drag you into the album really nicely. But it really rapidly kind of falls apart after that. Like with the pop sensibilities and stuff like that. The catchy choruses and hooks and stuff like that are kind of gone after that point. And then what you get after that is like really, like I said, symphonic stuff where it's more laid out. Like, I mean, there's still choruses and stuff like that, but the way it's kind of laid out and the way it kind of plays through, it's a lot more operatic, a lot more storytelling. Not just there to accompany the vocals. You got so that from there we go into Here Be Dragons, title track for the album, and it's okay. The Moorlands at Twilight, another one. It's okay. The Witch, okay. Phantasmagoria, for a song called Phantasmagoria, kind of felt a little let down a little bit. Bring on the Night, I didn't mind. Unleash the Kraken, this one really kind of reminds me of Iron Maiden. I want to say like Power Slave era. I don't mean it because of the unintentional connections with the seafaring and whatnot, but Unleash the Kraken really kind of remind me in certain ways of Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Not entirely, and just in certain little ways. But that's what made me think, kind of like the Power Slave era and stuff like that. Somewhere in and around that time. Felt like the whole sound of it, even without Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Like thinking about like Aces High, even to a degree, or maybe even going a little after the Power Slave era. Getting a little more into like Can I Play with Madness and stuff like that as well. Yeah, just kind of that kind of whole mid '80s. We're gonna go like mid '80s Iron Maiden. That's really what Unleash the Kraken kind of made me think of. Avalon really kind of picks it up after that. Avalon is probably the only song on this album where I actually got up and went and checked what the name of the song on the album was when I was listening to it on the first go through. It's the only one that really stood out to me enough to actually have to go look at the name of the song. And I really do enjoy Avalon. As an individual track, it's really good. Against the Wind is okay, and then it finishes with Everybody's Here Until the End, which is also okay. Ultimately, it's an okay Avantasia album. That's the best way I can put it. It's not a great Avantasia album. It's not my favorite. It's not Lost in Space. Uh, Tracy and I were talking about this, and even she was saying, it's okay. For her, the Scarecrow album is her favorite, and I really enjoyed that album too. When I listened to that album, I'm like, okay, this is a band that's not bad, not worth it. I've covered this. I've covered all these albums at this point, so you can go back and watch them and see where I sit with all those. And I find that after the Lost in Space album, there, everything else just kind of meh. Like it kind of feels like Avantasia by numbers, sort of. Like. There's less hooks, there's less variation. It's a lot more relying more on orchestration, symphonic kind of vibe to it. The storytelling is nice, but unless you're the type of person who really digs on concept albums and that, it doesn't have anything in there to take you outside of the concept album. And that's kind of, for me, I think ultimately where this album kind of falls flat is concept albums are great, and there are some concept albums out there I really truly love, and there are some out there that I really don't have much use for. This does not fall under the I have no use for, but it really is kind of like everything that is both right and wrong with concept albums at the same time, I guess. It's got all the storytelling, it's got good narration, stuff like that, fantastic music, but it's kind of like really basic in the way it does it. Like there's nothing that stands out, nothing that kind of pops and goes woo. Would I recommend this album? I mean, if you're into Avantasia, you might as well pick it up. It's a good Avantasia album, and I was really impressed when I stumbled across it. I just happened to walk in really weirdly. Sunrise Records here in Windsor, and I'm not plugging stores, but Sunrise Records, it's our only real Canadian chain, nationwide kind of. And it's really weird. For some reason, when it comes to hard rock, heavy metal new releases, they're all up near the front by the cash registers. And I don't know if it's just in Windsor that happens or whatever. I miss the old days where you had the big ass new release wall, okay? The 90s were beautiful time for that, man. You got that big ass new release wall. You'd see all the albums on there that had been out for like the last like maybe up to 2 months. If it was a slow time period, you might get 3 months. If it was a really hot album, that hot album might be up there for up to 6 months. I miss those days. Now you go and you got the new release section kind of when you get in there. It's this tiny little front end of a counter. It's not that big. And then I found that a lot of other new releases, because I stumbled across this one, and a lot of the other new releases, especially hard rock, heavy metal, are all right up at the register. Like, I thought this wasn't even out yet. I still thought I had another month before I had to pick this up. And I walk in, and it's sitting right there, and I'm like, really? Well, I wasn't planning on buying that much today, but okay, that's what Tracy wants. Avantasia is one of Tracy's bands, so I always have to pick it up. She's a completionist, much like myself. So, anyways, folks, that's it. I'm gonna be done with that, and let me know what you think down below in the comments section. Uh, I'm hoping next time they release an album, they do something a little more with a little different, a little better. But we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think. Like I said, comment section, that's what it's for. On your way down there, you'll see a couple links. Feel free to check those out. Please hit the like button, subscribe button, bell for notifications. Otherwise, peace, love, take care.